That's all for that little side path, though. It was pretty lucrative. Back to the fire zone, though. So the tell for the fiery death throws is, of course, these black char marks on the ground. Worth noting, the giant has to notice you for him to try to firebomb you to death. Oh dear. Okay, that was behind me. Also worth noting that you can actually outrun him in a lot of cases. He will start throwing it towards the last thing you were standing at, rather than the one you are currently standing at. Very useful and important. Fight another Balder Knight, this time in a crowded hallway, but honestly, after the Sneeple, these guys just don't hit nearly as hard. I'm also sorry for what I assume is an ambulance driving by my apartment. Anything interesting? Oh, hush you. I'm sure it's an emergency, but come on, I'm trying to record a video game. Alright. So yeah, I guess also I should mention that it's important to note the dilapidation and, you know, how this place has just completely fallen apart. Especially when we contrast it to the next area that we're going to be going to. Like, you can really see, even in these wall textures, how there's just so many really small, neat signs of decay. Like, look at this rotting plaster and the uneven bricks on the inside. You know, the game really pays a lot of attention to textures and kind of uses them to tell you what sort of area we're in. Remember that this is really like the famed proving area of the gods. Also, I am about to get owned, aren't I? Oh, I'm not. I'm a little bit surprised. There we go. I guess he just didn't notice me fast enough. Nope. Get a Titanite shard from these. Yeah, the Balder guys drop a lot of Titanite shards, which is really good for letting you just kind of experiment with weapons. Is there a drop down there? I always forget. I think you actually can get something there, but before exploring, I have something that we really need to take care of. Let's just, let's say. If we... So, there's a fog door over that way, and judging by its size, I think you can tell that it's finally the boss of this area. But you can actually make your way up to this guy over here, and it's important to note that if you don't take care of him now, he will actually still be able to throw rocks at you, exploding rocks, during the boss fight. It's like one last screw you from the game. So, definitely worth your time to destroy him. He does not respawn, incidentally. So, in doing this, we've stopped the firebombing entirely. Thank God. There we go. He also drops a Titanite chunk. There's one other area that I've missed, but I can't quite remember how to get there. It involves some weird falling. Alright. Make our way out over this way. Come into a room, and unfortunately we're hollowed, or there would be a summon sign here. Thought there was an item, but either way. Anyway, now that we're not under quite so much duress, we can actually explore this place a little bit more. If you fall down to here, it's not quite a unique area, although be really careful because this is not full grading. You can pop out over here and end up in this area. One of the first ones we landed in, actually. Or wait, is it its own thing? I always forget. This area is also pretty mazy. I'm sorry if you expected expert level play here. There we go. So now we're back to the bonfire, basically. A lot quieter and less imposing when there isn't a guy throwing shit at you all the time. There we go. This is where I wanted to be. So, platforming in Dark Souls. It sucks. Don't attempt it. But here you kind of have to. Because there's a whole area over here. And it even has a merchant.
Ah, what? What? Who are you? Ah, another undead, eh? I took on Sam's fortress alone, but I'm no different from those vile creatures. I was driven by conceit. Ah, you think you're different? That you can handle it? Yes, I remember that feeling. For I was the same. So, let me help you out with your soul searching.
This is the Crestfallen Merchant. It's another fan name, but he's clearly pretty strong because he made it all the way up here, but it seems he's had a bit of a change of heart since then.
There's nothing more to say. I'm finished. We're both on the brink, you see. End of story. You bloody fool. Let me give you a nibble of advice. Don't even consider visiting Amorlondo. Not in your state. For a century they've tried and failed. The Night King Rendell, Black Iron Tarkus, and even Logan himself. You won't stand a chance, you'll be eaten alive. But go along if you wish, if only to deepen your despair.
I do love the way that this guy, like, you know, just casually name drops a bunch of people who we've been seeing talks about. It's sort of, he's, I guess, a straight man meant to show you, you know, how close so many people have gotten, but just not quite made it.
Let me give you a...
Yeah.
You won't...
We've even met some of the people he talks about. Anyway, he actually sells a lot of really good items. So some black fire bombs, some green blossoms, titanite shards, including green ones, even if it's at, you know, a bit of a high price. We can afford a few. 3? I think that's fine. We might not have use. You know, it's highway robbery, but this is the first merchant that actually lets you buy these things. He also sells various items that belonged to... they're Baraniki. Metal Great Shield. Used by Knight Baraniki, known for his heavy armor. This thick plate of iron is heavily defensive, but ultra heavy. Great shields are very stable and deflect attacks. However, one cannot parry and instead bashes with the shield. So, this guy sort of tells you the story about how the Kingdom of Baldur tried to get here, including the Night King Rendell, which was mentioned. How the Knights Baraneki tried to. I think that this refers to him as like a single person, but I believe he is, or like I believe they're an order of knights. It might be a little unclear. They have several special arrow stuff. And they actually have the Katarina armor and several other special ones, so if you want to be an onion, you can. Distinctively shaped helm worn by the Knights of Katarina. Outside Katarina, it is often ridiculed for its onion-like shape, infuriating the proud knights, but the masterfully forged curved design makes it effective for parrying. So this is Sigmayr's gear. You can wear it. There we go, the Knights of Baraneki. It is referred to as more than one person, so that's probably a translation error. Helm of the Knights of Baraneki, known for their heavy armaments and armor. Countless Knights of Baraneki, once extolled as the mightiest of mighty, became undead and ventured to Lordran. But their journey was for naught, as they went hollow and became a threat to all undead. And so that's the steel set, belongs to the Knights Baraneki, and he also sells the Baldur set. Helm worn by the Knights of the ancient kingdom of Baldur. It is made from thick iron plates. Baldur was homeland of the Night King Rendell, but it came to ruin after a great many undead were spawned. So I really like how this guy sells, like, you've been seeing these enemies for a while, and of course you've also seen Sigmayr. The Knights Baraneki and the Baldur Knights. And you finally get some, like, just a little bit of story into them, and it sort of really shows, like, that Sen's Fortress is truly legendary. It gives you that feel for them. And then he also sells the Thunderstone Plate and Spellstone Plate rings, which give the same kind of resistances that the Fire one does. Which is neat.
Go along, try and make something of yourself. But nothing will come of it, and I should know.
I don't actually remember if he has any other dialogue or not. I'll have to check that at some other point. Since we're here, and since we've dealt with the imminent fire problem, I'm gonna put the wolf's ring back on. There are better rings to have, but I believe right now this is the best one for our build. Not too much more to explore, actually. We've almost made it through all of Sen's Fortress. But down here, there's something a little important, considering we still haven't found anything for poor Master Logan back there. There is one last Snape. I could just take him like this. So I kind of wanted to backstab, but the mage ones don't have nearly as much. But for our troubles, we get a cage key. We get a really wiggly snake body. Havoc physics, stop. Cage key. Opens hanging cage in Sen's Fortress. If a hapless adventurer becomes fatigued during an imprudent attempt to overcome the fortress, the Serpent Men will not kill him, but lock him up in a lonely cage. Eventually, unless they have forgotten, they drag the victim off to who knows where. I swear, the keys are the best descriptions in the whole game. Like, God, it's creepy as fuck. And that's all you ever get about it. So, of course, knowing all that, the first thing we're going to do is find a cage and jump straight into it, right? Right. Incidentally, I believe, yeah, there is an item down there, and the best way to get it is, unfortunately, to take a tumble. We get the sniper crossbow and some bolts. This is basically like a long-range crossbow. Oh, might as well heal up. Hello there. Alright. Yep, this is back over here. I don't know if the sniper crossbow say anything interesting. I literally don't have a clue. Large crossbow with long distance used by Kareem snipers, often used with sniper bolts. But while crossbows are normally easy to use, the sniper crossbow requires dexterity. So yeah, it actually has a pretty high strength and dexterity requirement you have to get through. And it mentions it as Kareem, which sort of gives you another, you know, insight into them, as if you really needed to be told that they're kind of shady folks. Snipers. A cowardly weapon, as Knights would say. Pop over to here, and we find our first cage, because there is in fact more than one that you can use this on. And if you're really feeling saucy, you can take a ride in a cage. All the way down to the start of the fortress. So, this does provide you with at least a convenient... Ow. A convenient way up and down the fortress, once you've made it this far. So, if you want to visit Andre, feel free. That said, we have other things to attend to down here. Oh dear! I forgot they have a grab. Thankfully, grabs are getting a little bit less dangerous now that we have the kind of armor that can handle them. I believe that grab is just not all that strong to begin with. So, one thing that I could potentially show off, but nah, this episode's getting on. That snake can actually also destroy the wall. In fact, that might be the fast way to do things. So if you decide you'd like to make friends with him rather than just, you know, conscripting him to a snakely death. You can actually get him to... At least you should be able to get him to blow through the wall. I thought he was able to do it. I could be wrong. Ah, there it goes. Maybe it's only certain attacks. I don't know. But yeah, you don't actually need a boulder to break that wall. That said, it does mean you have to actually fight the Snake Man, but we're old hat at that. And speaking of old and hats...
Oh, heavens. Thank you. I'm safe. And I'd love to resume my travels. But I must log a few things first, and I owe you a favor. I will return to Farthing Shrine. Speak with me then, so that I may impart my sorcery.
So Logan's another one whose voice actor is really fantastic. Like, oh, I'm saved. Thanks, buddy. Like, he's clearly thankful for it, but he also, you know, like Laurentius clearly felt he was in danger. Griggs was really worried about being trapped there. Logan was like, ah, nice, thanks.
Oh, hello. Don't mind me. Go on ahead. I'll be along later. Whoa, I'll be just fine, young.
Yeah, he's... You know, it's very clear that he trusts in his skills enough. And I mean, we've been told he's legendary by multiple people at this point, so it makes sense.
Oh, hello.
But I really like that kind of nonchalantness that he has. Oh, hi there. Yeah, don't worry. I'm fine. Pop in here, and we get a Soul of a Hero, which is the largest one we've gotten so far. Now, the quickest way back to the top is actually, since we only have two, gonna be a homeward bone, because we last stopped at that other bonfire up there. And I actually I want to get that humanity back. So let's handle that. This will respawn the Balder Knights, but it won't respawn the big guy, so we still have a pretty clear path to the boss here. Let's take care of that. I guess while we're on this last run, I really do like the, again, vertical design of Sen's Fortress, except now instead of going down, you're going up. It works really well here, and it allows you to get that kind of last shortcut in with the cages. Especially because when you're riding down the cage, you can really feel just how far you've come. You know, you see basically the entire level when you do that. I think that's really neat. And yes, I know that there is one last area that I've kind of not shown off. I can't remember how to get that, so I'll probably just do it later. Anyway, now that we're human, it's that place down there. You can kind of see that there's some steps and stuff that you can get to. There is, in fact, a summon sign for Iron Tarkus. Another one who I believe was mentioned. This dude's a real badass. Like, look at that shield. Look at that fucking, I don't know, pot for a head and giant sword. We could be giant sword buddies. As long as I don't run off and kill myself by mistake. Alright. So, now that we've all but finished this, what is this final trap that has set so many, that has turned back so many adventurers on their way to Honor Longo? It's the giant golem. Iron golem. I can words. this big guy is very powerful, and this place does not actually have any guardrails. That said, out of every like summon in the game, Tarkus is actually one of the most powerful. Ooh, watch out for that. As Tarkus so aptly showed off there, there is actually a grab move, and you will get spiked if you're not careful. So in general, you'll kind of want to just chill over here. He has ways to mess you up. Yeah, there we go. Even with our great shield, his swings are so powerful that they throw us back. Uh-oh. Oh, we got Tarkus again. Incidentally, bosses have iframes while doing their throw-it animations. So, like, when they grab Tarkus, it's kind of hard to show off with one person, but if they grab your summon buddy, you can actually do damage to them. The same way you are when you grab someone. Oh, also, if you do enough damage to this Iron Golem, you can actually stagger him and knock him all the way over. Tarkus is very good at that, which is another reason that he's quite good. I can't remember, does fire do anything to him? Not particularly. Uh-oh. Yeah, do be careful. In general, you're pretty safe by his feet, but I recommend keeping a lock on him because it lets you see if he's trying his grab attack. That Tarkus, again, aptly demonstrated for us. I don't know how I didn't hit him there. That is, I guess, the one bad thing about that. About keeping a lock on. When you're just on someone's feet, you can very easily fuck that up. But there we go. All told, for how difficult this area is, this fight, not nearly so much. Thank you for your help, Tarkus. Even alone, not especially difficult. You're kind of used to fighting big bosses at this point. And rather than a soul, we get a core of an Iron Golem, which sort of implies that this thing was created using part of a great soul rather than an actual one. Soul, serving as the core of the Iron Golem, guardian of Sen's fortress, and slayer of countless heroes seeking Honorlando. Originally a bone of an everlasting dragon, used to acquire a huge amount of souls, or to create a unique weapon. So that's an interesting note, that this thing was created from what is essentially the bone of a great dragon. Anyway, unfortunately, it seems that our path into Honorlando has been blocked off here. There was clearly meant to be an entrance, but it seems we'll need to find alternative means to get up this mighty wall here. God, that is such a good reveal. That is such a good cutscene. It frames it so well that it lands you on top of this and immediately points you towards that large castle so that you know exactly where you're going. Honorlando is one of the most fantastic areas in the game, both from a design and a gameplay standpoint. It has its share of notorious parts, but I love it so much, and I'm gonna spend an entire session talking about it, I'm sure. So I will see you guys next time when we finally tackle the great city of light, Honorlando.